Hi guys, welcome back to another video. So this is the materials that I will be using. I'm using loops and thread, the Impeccable yarn. It's 100% acrylic. It's a medium 4. The color is guacamole. The recommended hook size is a 5mm hook, which is the hook that I'm going to be using. So I am going to be using a 5mm hook. I have my measuring tape, some stitch marker, some darning needle, and the scissors. All right, so yeah. All right, so the measurements that I'm going to be working with today, her bottom, she wears a large. Her hips measurement is 48, and her waist measurement is 35. So for the skirt, since there's a big, kind of like a big gap between her waist and her hips measurement, I am going to be using her hips measurement, and I'm going to subtract a couple inches off her waist. So I think I'm gonna cut off 8 inches because I made this dress for her before, and I used the measurement of 40, which was able to go over her hips, and I had put an elastic band on the other one, but this one, since we're gonna have a drawstring, I think it should be okay. So I am going to make a chain that gets to 40 inches, which I'm going to try for 120 inches because when I did it, a script for her before, the chain was 120 stitches. But, different yarns, if you're using different yarns, so just count and measure it because different yarns and different hooks varies in the finished product. All right, so I'm going to start off with a slip stitch. I'm going to leave a nice tail to weave in at the end. Wrap my yarn twice, back to front, then back to front again. Pull over the finger, and this is my slip knot. So just to start a chain is wrap your yarn over your hook. Pull through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Don't do it too tight because you're gonna need to go to put your hook through these chains. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna do up to 120 or however much it's gonna take for me to get to my 40 inches. You measure your hips measurements. You could if you want it tight, you could subtract a couple inches off because yarn tends to stretch when you're working on it. So measure yourself while you're working. Try on your work to make sure that it's your desired fitting. All right, so I'm gonna finish doing my chain off camera and then I'll come back. All right, so I did my 120. My chain is 120 stitches, and if I measure it, stretched it out, it gives me 140 stitch, and I need this to be a multiple of 4, so it's fine because if I was to make it exactly 40 inches, I would have to take 5 chains out. So 41 inches, I did 120 stitches. All right. All right, so she wanted the sides to be more open. Since I have 100, since I had 120 stitches, and you know, it's a multiple of 4, I wanted 20 of the stitches on the sides to be out. So if I want 20 on each side, so that's 40. So I might so I subtract 40, which gives me 80. All right, so if you put if you do 80 divided by 2, which is 40. All right, so before I attached my my circle, I counted each side. So I took 20 off here and I put a stitch marker, 20 on the other side, put a stitch marker, because when we put it together like this, it's going to be 40 here. So I counted 20, put a stitch marker. I counted another 20, I put a stitch marker. On the other side, I counted 20, put a stitch marker, 20, put a stitch marker, and the front should give us 40. So we have 40 here, 40 here, and 20 here, and that gives me my 120 stitches. It's up to you if you want to leave more of a space on the side, or if you just want a couple rows of the open on the side. It's completely up to you. Just try to make it as even as you can, since my chain is 120. All right, so I'm gonna connect. So just make sure your chain is straight when you're attaching it. All right, so I'm going to slip stitch on that very first chain that we made. Slip stitch is when you take your hook, you put it through the stitch, pull up a loop, have 2 loops on our hook, take the first loop and pull it through the second loop. All right, and we're gonna chain 1. And you could put your work down to just make sure everything is facing one way and your yarn is not all twisted. Okay, all right, so after you make sure everything is good and you attached it with the slip stitch, I went ahead and chained 1. I am going to put a puff stitch inside that, or slip stitch, so the very first one. So to do a puff stitch, wrap our yarn over, pull up a loop, have 3 loops, wrap your yarn over one more time, put it inside that same stitch, pull up another loop. You should have 5 loops, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yarn over again, pull through all 3, chain 1, wrap your yarn over. We're gonna skip this stitch and go to the next stitch. Do the same thing, pull up a loop, 3 loops on our hook, wrap your yarn over, put in the same stitch, pull up another loop, 5 loops on your hook, wrap your yarn over, pull through all 3, chain 1. Okay, wrap a yarn, skip 1, go to the other one and do your puff stitch. Chain 1, skip 1, and do your puff stitch. Chain 1, skip 1, and do your puff stitch. All right, so keep going until you get to your first stitch marker. All right, so I am at my last 2 stitches before the stitch marker. So skip 1, put 1 right here. All right, so that's our puff stitch. So remember, we did, this is 20 stitches. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna chain 20. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 17, 17, 18, 19, 20. Go ahead and make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Okay. Make sure it's going the same way. Okay. We're gonna put it right there where our stitch marker is. No, actually, no. We're gonna go to this one right here. All right, so this is our 20th one. So right on our 20th one, where our stitch marker is, we're gonna put a puff stitch. So that's 1, and that's 2. Okay, when you're doing this, just make sure that it's going the same way and you get everything. Okay, chain 1, skip this one, go to the next one. All right, so we could remove this stitch marker. You can move it up to this, to the very first one right here. Take that. Move it right here to the stitch before our puff stitch. All right, so you could go ahead and count. All right, so this is what we have so far. We could count it. So we're gonna count from the stitch before it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So we still have 20. So we're gonna start doing our on our second row, we're gonna do reduction going this way, going down. All right, once we get to that, all right, sorry for the interruption. All right, so we're gonna keep working until we get to the other stitch marker. So skip 1, put a puff stitch in the other one. After your puff stitch, so we're gonna finish this puff stitch. chain 1, skip 1, go to the other one. All right, so when we get to the other puff stitch, I'll show you what's next. All right, so we are getting back to our stitch marker. So we're gonna put our puff stitch right here, and we're gonna chain 20. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so make sure everything is going the same way, and we're gonna put connect it, and put our puff stitch here, chain 1, skip 1, chain 1. All right, so I am going to move my stitch markers up and putting it on the stitch before. Okay, and so we're gonna just continue. Skip 1, put our puff stitch, chain 1, skip 1. All right, so when I come back over here, I'll show you what I'm doing next. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3 stitches left. So we are going to skip 1, put it in the next one, like so, chain 1, so we could do a continuous one, or actually I'm not gonna chain 1. I'm going to slip stitch on top of our chain 1 right here. Okay, and we're gonna close this like so. We're gonna chain 1, and we're gonna put our puff stitch right here. Actually, we're gonna turn our work. Okay, we're gonna turn our work, and then we're gonna put our puff stitch. We're gonna put our puff stitch on the first space right here. So that's 1. Okay, chain 1. And we're going to put our puff stitch in the middle of the puff stitches. So in between the spaces, we're gonna put our puff stitches. All right, so like so. Okay, so when I get to my my first stitch marker, I'll come back and show you what I'm doing next. All right, so this is our last puff stitch. So remember, I have put my stitch marker on this chain after the puff stitch, so I'm going to put my puff stitch right here on that chain where I had my stitch marker. So the chain, so this is our puff stitch and that's our first chain. All right, so I'm gonna put my puff stitch here in this chain. Like so. I'm gonna chain one. So on our previous, so before we had chained 20, now we are going to chain 18 because we're minusing one chain in the beginning and one chain at the end. That's why I always put my stitch marker on the next chain right after the puff stitch. Okay, so we had chain 20, now I'm gonna chain 18. Oh, so that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. All right, so I'm going to take my stitch marker and I'm going to put it at the chain right after our puff stitch. So this is our puff stitch. That's our chain 1 on the puff stitch, and we're going to put that right here. Okay, this is where kind of like our chain 1, so we're gonna put our puff stitch right here. So we chained 18, making sure everything is connected, and we're gonna put it right here on our first stitch before the puff stitch. Okay, so this is our puff stitch, that's kind of like the chain 1, and we're gonna put our puff stitch right here on that very first stitch right here. Oh. Okay, when you're doing this part, just be careful not to tug too hard or too lightly. Okay, and chain 1, and we're gonna put our puff stitch between the 2 puff stitches. So 1, 2, puff stitch. All right, so as you can see, we are decreasing. All right, so I'm going to take back my stitch marker and I am going to put it in that first stitch that doesn't have the puff stitch. So this is a puff stitch right here, and I'm going to put it my chain right here. And if you count, there should be 18, so, or 16, yes, 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, sorry, miscounted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Oh, my bad, 17. Yeah, that'll be 17. Our next row will be 16. All right, so this is 18. When we put our puff stitch on our stitch marker, then it'll be 16, then it'll be 14, 12, 10, 8, 9, like that. Okay, so we're just gonna keep moving our stitch markers like this until we get to the last 2 stitches. Okay, so when I get to my other stitch marker again, I'm gonna show you guys. All right, Okay, again, we are on our last space before our chain start. Gonna put that chain 1, and we're going to put our puff stitch right here on the stitch. On our stitch right here. Okay. Or you could even count it to make sure you have 18. So this stitch, this was our chain, yeah, right here. All right, yeah. So we're going to put a puff stitch right here on that first stitch. Like so. So we're gonna chain 18. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. Okay, we're gonna take our stitch marker and put it right here on our first stitch. All right. Making sure everything is straight, and we're gonna remove this and we're gonna put it on our stitch right before the stitch marker right here. Okay, so right here. Right here, put our puff stitch. Pull through all, chain 1, and go to the space. Chain 1. All right. And we're gonna take our stitch marker again, and then we're gonna put it right there on that first stitch. Okay. So you could see it's starting to reduce. And then we're gonna start over here and then move down. All right. So this was 20, this was 20, this is 18. The next one will be 16, then 14 by 2s, all right? So when we get to the last, like, 4 stitches, I'll come back to show you what we're doing next, all right? All right, so I am doing my last row here. Oh, Jesus. Turn 1, put my last double crochet. I'm not gonna chain 1, I'm going to slip stitch on top of my first puff stitch, chain 1 right here, slip actually, this is how I'm gonna slip stitch it. Oop. There we go. Slip stitch, just chain 1. Now is a slip stitch, make it tight, chain 1. And this is what we have. All right. So this is the back. You could see, because I kept on turning, the seam is straight on down. And I think I did 28 rows, but we could count to make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. We did 28 rows, and that is about 9.5 inches. Not stretched out, but once it's a bit stretched out, it goes to about 11 inches. All right, so this is what we're working with. Oh, sorry. And I am going to, if I could find my scissors. Alright, so I'm gonna make sure I leave a nice tail to weave in, and I'm going to snip my yarn right here, pull this tight, and right here, this is what we have. Okay, so now the only thing to do is weave in our ends, and this is how the skirt is looking. All right, now I am going to do a string for the waist, so it could tie around, so it could be more fitting and more tight. So just to do just for a normal chain, I'm gonna get my yarn. All right, so I have my yarn, and I'm gonna leave a little bit of a tail. I'm gonna do a slip knot. Still using the same hook size. And I'm going to chain about 200, because the skirt is 120 that goes around, so I'm going to chain about 200. So to chain is just wrap your yarn around your hook, pull through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right, like so. So I'm gonna do that for about 200, or however long you want your string to be for your waist, because it's gonna go a little bit on the skirt, so you will be able to tighten it around your waist better. All right, so I'm gonna go do my 200. All right, so I did my 200 chain. So this is the back right here. So I'm going to put, so this is the middle. I'm gonna weave in here, weave in the middle, and then weave in on the side right here. Okay, so I'm doing that between the puff stitches right here. And then I'm gonna do that right here. There we go. All right. I'm gonna weave in right here. Do that for the other side. And I'm going to weave in on this space right here. Like so. Okay. Gonna weave in. You could count it to see where's the middle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this part, I'm gonna weave in right here. And then we're gonna weave in right here. Actually, no. Make it even. Weave that in here. Okay. And that's on the outside. Oh, that was the wrong part. Upwards right here. Okay. And this one right here. And here we go. And this one is gonna be tied. It's gonna be tied to the side, like so. Make a bow, or oh, before that, I have to finish. So make sure you pull this really tight, and I'm going to make a slip knot just to fasten, so I know the stitch won't be coming out. Pull that. I could do one more. Okay. Do that for the other side. Okay. And there we go. All right. And we are done. thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know what you think. Thank you so much for your support. Okay, until next time, I'll see you again in my next video. Bye.